Streets and Scholars, Alex Alonso and FG bringing you another banger. And I want to apologize to everybody for not getting to an episode last week. It's the first time we missed an episode, FG.
No doubt. You know what I mean? You do owe them apology, man, but hey, we got the trial, you got the trial going, the things going on moving, but we'll try to stay on pace, man.
Yeah, man, I was tapping in with this Tory Lanez, Megan Thee Stallion case, man, and it just kind of got me hooked, I don't want to miss a day now.
Hey, it's crazy, man. I can see why. It's like Dynasty of Knox Landing back in the day, man.
Hey, man, we're going to talk a little bit about it, but the first day is like, okay, they got this evidence against Tory. Oh, it ain't looking bad. Then it's looking bad for him. Then the next day, the defense come back with their little narrative. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it went that way. Then the prosecution comes back. It's like a roller coaster case, man. You kind of don't even know what really happened, even though you heard from all these witnesses, and we'll talk a little bit about it later. But yeah, man, that's the reason why we didn't bring you an episode last week. But we're back at it this week, and first thing I want to say, F, is that my man from USC won the Heisman Trophy.
Oh, no doubt.
I got to shout out Caleb Williams.
He did that, man.
A lot of people hit me up and said, oh, well, since they lost the Pac-12 championship game, it's a wrap for Caleb.
I mean, he had it in the bag already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, they lost, and they lost big. You know what I mean? I was pissed off that day, too, man. I seen that loss. But, no, he still deserved his honor, though, man.
But, that loss is because USC's defense is a little questionable.
Well, no doubt. But at the same time, man, they still fresh under this new coach. You know what I mean? Give him a little time, man. I think we'll see a championship soon.
But I noticed there was too many games this season where the opposition scored like 30, 40 points. Of course, Caleb will come out and score his 40, 45, but you can't be letting the other side score 40 points too.
No doubt. Defense win championships.
Yeah.
And that's what the difference was. Caleb did his shit. Offense was great, but defense you can't give up 40 points, man.
And then I think he kind of got injured and was hobbling pretty much most of the game.
Yeah, no doubt. But at the same time, like you say, man, they still throughout the season was giving up too much points on D, and that game they definitely gave up too many.
Yeah, so that makes USC the most winningest Heisman Trophy school on earth.
That's what's up.
Outdoing Notre Dame by one, and of course I'm counting Reggie Bush's. I don't know if they ever reinstated Reggie Bush's Heisman.
Man, let me tell you something, man. He won it. You know what I mean? The reason you took it back wasn't on the field issue, so I still count it.
Yeah, so I think USC's got 8, Notre Dame got 7. And everybody else got a little less. But, yeah, man, that was a tough game to see them lose. But he won it, man. That's a good thing, man, for USC. I'm always happy to see another Trojan, step up to the game. And we'll see. And I think he might come back next season. I don't think he's declaring. Do you know if he declared?
No, I don't think he will. But if he did, much respect. But I think he might come back just to clean up everything, get everything, sharpened. And before he go to the league.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, I wanted to tap in on a couple other things we talked about before, man. I don't know if you had a chance to see this story on YNW Melly, but the headline is that he fears for his life, and I guess he's just trying to get bail or get out. I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, he's definitely not going to get bail, and what he's saying is he's locked down 23 hours a day. So when he comes out, they lock up all the other inmates, which piss off all the other inmates. You know what I mean? So he's already been named one deputy, a sergeant, or a captain in that facility of the sheriff's department that, he thinks he's next on the get your ass whooped list because they over there whooping ass where he at. But for one, you telling. Stop telling that the sheriff's in there whooping people ass and they ain't whooped yours yet.
Wait, that's telling when you telling on the cops?
I mean, they ain't even whooped his ass yet. You reporting shit that, knock it off, man. And I ain't calling him a snitch. I'm just saying, man, stop tattletelling about what's going on in jail because this shit been going on. You know what I mean? So he might be doing it just to make sure he wasn't next because I believe he said sheriff's told him to keep it up. Your ass we gonna beat your ass and hide you. You know what I mean? And they will do it. But hey, man, he gonna have to fight his fight, man. You got some serious charges, very serious charges. You got to fight him, bro.
Yeah, there's no way they're going to give bro a bail because this is a double murder.
No doubt.
And I don't believe I've ever seen a guy that's been charged with 2 bodies ever get bail.
Me neither. So, like I say, no matter what, how uncomfortable it is right now, they're making sure it's uncomfortable because this is what they do. They want you to get on the phone. They want you to leak some information. They setting you up and you just really don't know it. And we talked about that in previous episodes of Streets and Scholars about that county jail break you down. you know, and so that's what they're in the process of doing. He put in for a motion for a speedy trial months ago. And I've never seen it denied, but I didn't see it granted. That was months ago, Alex. You know, usually when you put in that request for speedy trial, it comes along, but for some reason, man, they ain't showing him no love.
Yeah, man, that's Florida, so I don't know how Florida does it, man. They might have their own thing that they do over there, but I think he needs to start doing some push-ups, maybe put on a little bit of weight, because he's a little guy, man.
No doubt. And I understand. I get it. You know, and you're in there by yourself, you know what I mean? And if you're not from a, you know, like we talked about earlier, and you know this more than anything because you're a gang expert. You know, when you in jail, man, and you from a gang, you know, it helps, you know, because you got the homies in there that's going to protect you when you a little guy or you a, you know, fat guy or you a whatever you are. If you you got homies, you know, and when you don't have homies, man, you know, jail is wild, bro.
What do you recommend for a little guy in an environment of big dudes? Because we always see these little guys go to jail. I always ask myself, like, damn, how does this dude survive in here?
Well, you know what, man, I would say, you know, just be true to yourself. You got some heavy charges on your name, you know, and you already stated that they keeping you separated from a lot of the population just based on, you know, for one, who you are and the charges. That 23 and 1, that's going to be that's standard operating procedure for a case that you have. You know, they don't have time to put you in gen pop and let you run around all day, and they don't have time to babysit you. So they really protecting you as well with this 23 and 1. It's something you have to mentally, you know, get under your belt and fight. You fighting for your life, bro. You're not fighting for 3 or 4 years. You fighting for your life. So that's small to the bigger portion of what's going on with your case.
Did you ever prefer being in the hole when you was locked up over general population?
Well, hell no. By the time I got to the county jail in Los Angeles, you know, 4,300 used to be the blood module. Those were 8 to 10 man cells, and the homies in there clowning, fighting, roughhousing. By the time I got to the county jail, they turned the blood module into a 1-man cells, 21, 23 on a 2,000 floor. And we was locked down 23 and 1 every day, all day, you know. So I've been there. I did the 23 and 1. I get it, you know. And no, I don't prefer it. So the next time I went, what people like us do is say, no, we don't bang, you know. But as soon as they pull off your shirt, you know, you're a liar. You know what I mean? But you would rather be in Gen Pop, man. And it's rough out there in Gen Pop. Don't get me wrong, but you would rather not be in that 23 and 1, you know.
How can you sleep in those big ass dorms though? Like when it's like 100 people, all those bunk beds lined up. It's like I would never be able to get no sleep in there.
Well, the thing about it, man, you got the homies on watch. That's the crazy part. That's how, you know, and it ain't even the homies no more. It's blacks, period. Now, it used to be the Crip and Blood thing where you had the homies on watch. Okay, we finna get a couple hours sleep. Y'all stay up, you know, and watch. Now y'all get some sleep and we stay up and watch. You know, I've never been in a big dorm for more than a day or so, you know what I mean? And but that's how you do it when it's a big dorm situation.
Okay, man. Well, we're gonna tap in with Nuke Bizzle's case.
No, this is Melly.
I'm sorry, yeah. I said Nuke. YNW Melly's trial should be coming up real soon, man. We've been saying this for the last, 3-4 months.
That's a long time, man. Yeah.
And the lawyer said the trial was supposed to happen, but it's obviously hasn't taken place. And that's going to be probably the biggest trial in Florida when it goes down. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about Nuke Bizzle, man. Nuke Bizzle, we talked about him on a previous episode. He's the dude that embezzled a whole lot of money, $700,000 EDD/PPP. Sometimes we just call all this PPP. That's become the go-to term.
Right.
But his was specifically EDD COVID money. He tried to get a milli. He got $700,000, and then guess what he did after that?
Man,
he decided, I'm gonna go on YouTube.
I'm gonna go Hollywood. Yeah, I'm gonna go Hollywood.
Hey man, this social media has got people. Every day I see some crazy social media stuff, and it's just like it's like put people in a trance.
Well, I was gonna ask you because I was thinking about it at home today, man. And I mean, just honestly, I was thinking about it at home today. I'm like, damn, is fame that is that drug that serious to where, you know, you'll put your freedom in jeopardy or put your life in jeopardy to get it. You know what I mean? And keep getting it. And when you don't get, you know, the fame, you know, you do something else to get it. Man, I ain't seen drugs that do that to some people, man.
Yeah, man. People are hypnotized by a little bit of fame that you can get online on the internet, social media, Instagram, whatever you're doing, YouTube. But this dude decided to do a rap video and he actually showed the real checks and envelopes that he got from the government illegally,
Right.
and then rapped about how he did it.
Hey, he look, he did a crime. He told exactly how he did the crime. He showed the evidence to the crime, and I mean, basically, he wrapped himself up in. I mean, I don't even think they had a. I mean, he put the whole case. He look, he committed the case, then solved it himself.
Yeah, I mean, he probably would have caught a case anyways because the government has been trying to track all these people down, but
I don't know, Alex.
He made it easy.
He made it super easy, man. They probably wasn't even that. They probably didn't even get to his part of town yet, or get to his name in the alphabet yet. You know, all that. But he made it easy.
Look, he did a song. The song, well, I don't want to say this is the song that got him busted because I believe that the feds, they got a line of everybody who they think did fraud after the fact.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of hard to hide $700,000. It's hard to explain how you got $700,000 because you got to cash these in the bank.
You got to cash these in the bank.
These come as real checks.
Real shit.
So at some point, I think he would have got caught. But he did a song called, the name of the song was called EDD.
Wow.
And here, I got a little clip here. Let's listen to a little bit of this. I hope I don't get hit with a copyright strike from Nuke Bizzle. Hey, I can't understand nothing he's saying except for EDD.
Yeah. Now I heard a few things. He said, I give a shout out to Donald Trump. I heard him say that, you know. But the thing about it, I started bobbing my head like shit.
And you know he's actually from L.A.
Oh wow!
But he's they have him as a Memphis rapper, and you can tell he got that little southern sound.
That southern sound.
But he's an L.A. dude. He's from L.A. but he relocated to Memphis, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, Nuke Bizzle, he was looking at 20 years. They just sentenced him. We talked about this in a previous episode. They just sentenced him. They gave him 6 years, man. What do you think about that sentence?
He did good. 700,000, 6 years. Well, good to the
For him.
Yeah. He didn't get 20, which they could have easily gave him.
Yeah.
6 for 700, man. Hey, man.
He could walk that off.
He walked that off, yeah.
Yeah, 85%. He'll probably be out in 5 and some change.
No doubt.
But the thing about a lot of these cases that I'm reading is that there's restitution, the significant amount of restitution, like the type of restitution that you're going to be working hard to pay that off.
No doubt, but if it was a situation, man, just say if it was a situation, man, that he say he still had a $500,000 put up somewhere, and he come home, because, they don't always recover all the money, and they hit you with that restitution, and yeah, you got to pay it back on your name, but at the same time, if he was to come back home with a $500,000, if and he was able to commit some more fraud by making a business and working with he can't put nothing in his name, so that's out of it. You know what I mean? If he get a job, something's gonna be garnished. It's gonna be hard. They make it hard for you to live, bro.
Yeah, but that assumes that you're assuming that he probably got some more fraud money that they didn't catch.
How much did they recover?
Well, they didn't recover all the money, but they connected him to $700,000 worth of fraud.
Right, but at the same,
they didn't recover anything.
Yeah, I think they recovered a couple dollars.
Maybe, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If he was able to, which these guys aren't because they're young and they flossing, so they doing big shit, they doing big things, and we seen him on the video. They popping bottles every night and strippers and shit, and you know what I mean. So he probably don't. But I was just saying, if it was someone who was, well, I can't say that because I said if I was gonna say if it was somebody who was smart. Shit, he probably wouldn't be in jail right now. So I ain't gonna even go with that whole scenario,
I don't think we could put him in the smart column.
Yeah, that's why I said I gotta leave that scenario
with that video. But hey, the video was actually pretty entertaining, man. Tap in with that. EDD is the name of the song. Nuke Bizzle. Run his numbers up. He's gonna need that money because
he gonna need it, man.
Yeah, he's got 430,000 views on that song. He's gonna need a few million views.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's got to pay $700,000 in restitution, which is about the amount of money he took, he's gonna need many millions of views to pay that back.
You might have to do that billion.
But yeah, all right. He's going to the federal penitentiary. He's probably going to a low, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. All right. Another thing that we tapped in on another episode. Patrick Lyoya. The family sues. They're suing the Grand Rapids Police Department. And this is the guy that we saw the cop shoot him kind of in the back of the head, bottom above the neck. They charged the officer. His name was Shurer. But now the family's about to sue the city of Grand Rapids, and they definitely going to win millions of dollars from this city.
I mean, as they should. They should sue. You know, they should receive. You know, they lost a loved one. You know, and that's just how it is, man. You know, they definitely should be. I can't even say compensated, but they definitely should get something to help them out in their time of grieving. You know, about their loved one.
Yeah, they're definitely going to. They're probably not even going to take this to trial. The city of Grand Rapids. Most of the times in these cases, the city and the lawyers for the family, they just get to the table and they just come up with an amount that everybody could agree with.
Like the check,
yeah. And I'm going to think that this amount is going to be somewhere in the $4, $5, $6, $7 million range. Each city's different.
Yeah.
But they're definitely going to pay this family off, and hopefully. And I was a little mixed on this, whether or not the cop was malicious in shooting Patrick Lyoya, because he did run, and he did tussle with the cop.
Right.
So it's kind of hard for me to say where I stand on this, but I think what a lot of people are offended by is because he got shot in the back of the head.
No doubt.
And my question is, well, where was he supposed to shoot him at, to make it better?
Man, I mean, like I told you, man, I just really feel, man, once he was on the guy, because he was kind of on his back. Once he was on his back, I do believe that he should have tried his best to just jump up, back up, retreat, and take it from there. Once you backed up and retreat, if he would have ran or grabbed the taser and tried to point it at you, I get it. You know what I mean? But you was on his back. And like I say, man, I can't sit here and say malice. I can't sit here and say that the intent, seemed like it was an unfortunate thing that happened. But I still believe that they're going to have to pay.
Definitely. Benjamin Crump actually, they usually don't get the amount that they first request, but they're slapping the city of Grand Rapids with $100 million lawsuit.
No doubt.
So, Ben is a beast.
No, this was being due. So yeah. He ain't going,
But I think they'll get somewhere in around 10 or less.
Yeah.
These cases, I've never seen anyone get this much money, so I'm a little surprised. $100 million against the city of Grand Rapids. I don't even think Grand Rapids can afford to pay that.
No doubt.
But bro was only 26.
Damn.
His family was immigrants from Africa, the Republic of Congo. They leave a civil war-torn place that's way more dangerous than Grand Rapids,
man.
And then they lose their
come
kid.
Here to lose a kid. Yeah.
It's wild. It's crazy, man. And rest in peace to Patrick Lyoya. And I hope Ben Crump gets as much as he can out of the city of Grand Rapids for the family, man. All right. Let's talk about this bishop, man. We talked about Bishop Lamor Whitehead a few weeks back when he got robbed on Facebook Live, and we kind of thought it was fishy.
I did.
I did too. But then when they arrested a couple of bros for it, I was like, okay, it was legit. I think you were still, even though they arrested people for it, you said, "No, I'm still not feeling this dude." You kind of called. You was right on the money with homeboy.
I wasn't feeling him, and then yet and still, he's back in a situation. He's already did 5 years of Sing Sing. You know what I mean? He's been in trouble. That don't make him a bad person because he's an ex-con. But at the same time, man, when you go to look at his resume, it don't look good. You back in trouble this time for wire fraud and a few other things, man. So, it's not looking good for him.
I hold these guys like Lamor Whitehead at a higher level because they represent the cloth. They represent the church. And I certainly have a higher expectation of these type of people because they're claiming to live a certain righteous path, to live with certain principles that come down from God and Jesus. So when I see these dudes getting charged and indicted, and especially these flamboyant brothers like Lamar, and there's a few other ones like Creflo Dollar's another one, I don't have no pity on these guys, man.
Well, I don't have no pity on them, but I also have a concern about the congregation that's following these dudes. Don't get me wrong. I know a lot of people are faith based. And they're believers. Especially when you get to preaching the word. Whether it's Christianity or whatever religion. But at the same time, it seems like somebody will look up one day and see like this dude pimping. You know what I mean? And but what I was sick about, not just people paying their tithes or giving what they want to willingly, because people can give what they want to anybody, it's their choice. But he kind of like swindled a lady out of her $90,000 out of her retirement because she thought she was doing an investment. He got some thousands out of another guy and then attempted to go back and try to get a $500,000 on some real estate property that he had promised to, make good on. So this dude was just he was just a crook. You know what I mean? That's what he was. He was a crook on me. That's the word for him.
Hey, there's no doubt about it, man. I think he was just a career criminal, and when he got out of the penitentiary the first time, I think he figured a way that he can, get his hustle back on through the church, and he could hide it, he could mask it, and not get caught. But man, the feds was watching everything. And let me see here. I think I got a clip of. Let me see if I got a clip here on this. A little news clip out of New York of. Here we go. Let me see here. Here we go. This was a breaking story out of New York City, and.
Story. The Brooklyn pastor who was robbed of expensive jewelry during a live stream church service has been indicted on federal charges and is now in custody. The U.S. Attorney's Office says Bishop Lamor Whitehead is accused of fraud, extortion, and lying to the FBI. According to the indictment, Whitehead convinced a parishioner to invest $90,000 of her retirement savings with him. He's accused of spending the money on luxury items. Prosecutors say Whitehead extorted $5,000 from another victim and lied to agents about his cell phones.
That's the clip right there. Right. And it looks like he's got another case to fight. And bro is 45 years old, by the way.
Okay, yeah, I tried to look and I couldn't find it nowhere. And the reason I was asking, because this is the behavior of a 31-year-old. You know what I mean? Dude, why is you trying to do all this flossing with all these? At a certain point in your life, Alex, when money started to come your way, you put that shit up, bro. You know what I mean? You invested, but Fendi and Gucci and big body Benzes, and it's all right to have. Just say if you had one luxury car, you had a few nice suits, that's one thing. His whole status was about flossing. Now, I do have to say this or ask this question. Did he gain his congregation because he was flossing and because he looked like the part? Or did he just wanted to shine and live the life of a baller? I don't know that answer. But one thing about doing shit illegally, and I'm not trying to give nobody no game or lead nobody in the wrong direction, but bro, if you over 30 years old, man, you get some money, I don't care how you got it, you need to start putting that shit up and make some smart investments. Getting on Instagram and YouTube and with all this high dollar expensive shit, you know what I mean, is he brought the shit on the shelf, I believe. The dude was way too flossy, man. So they was going to go investigate this dude. Just like they investigate a hood motherfucker who rolling through the hood every day in the Benz. He's no different. They're going to go investigate you, bro, if you just doing too much. Somebody's going to report you're doing too much. Had he just been walking in there with regular suits and from the Men's Warehouse and turtlenecks and regular stuff, no jewelry. When I heard you got robbed for $1 million worth of jewelry, man, that was a slap in the face to everybody that paid a tithe at that church, to me.
But those people keep going to the church and seeing them doing this every week, though.
You're absolutely right. That's why I say it's hard for me to be mad at the, people can willingly give their money to who they want to, but at the same time, that kind of, not, and with the social media, that he brought the shit on himself, man. He brought it on himself, man.
This guy lives in a $2 million mansion, and I bet you that it was paid for by the people in this church.
No doubt, but the thing about it is, tax-free money, through a church, but they got his ass now because sometimes doing too much, they'll find something to get you about. Now listen, his line to the FBI is only because he said this was the only phone I had and he had one more phone. You know what I mean? And they might bust him upside the head for that more than they do some of the other stuff. You know what I mean? When they want to come get you, they're going to come get you. Now, had he not been an ex-con, these charges may not even be here right now, man. He might just be considered a successful because there's other ones that doing it. Joel Osteen them got $40 million houses and shit like that. You know what I mean? So he ain't the first one. It's just you don't see them on stage with $1 million worth of jewelry either. You know.
Yeah, I think there's a whole lot of these guys doing it. You said Joel Osteen, I definitely put him in that category, and I'll even put TD Jakes in that category. I know he's black. And
what's the lady name? I can't think of her name. She's another one. Damn, can't think of her name. She does the same thing that.
Is she black?
Nah, she's a white lady.
Okay.
And she balling too. She rich too. You know, I mean, super rich. You know.
And Creflo Dollar's another one. But you know, they got followers, and their followers give them money, and they see how rich they're living, so they must be cool with it.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what the difference is, and it could sound like I could sound hypocritical. Because I could say, okay, well, why these white dudes or these white people can go run up the dollars with their faith-based services, but when a dude buy a Bentley and a fat gold chain, you know, it's offensive. They buy what they want to buy. He bought what he want to buy. You know what I mean? At the same time, at the end of the day, you know, you got to have them checks and balances intact. And evidently, he didn't have his checks and balances intact. You know, I really think some of these other faith-based dudes, even including TD Jakes, because he in music videos and all kind of stuff, but he probably really get all his bread from the congregation. Maybe not swindling or extorting some of the churchgoers.
A lot of them, though, they kind of pivot into media and entertainment. And, you know, TD's got TV shows.
Right, no doubt.
I think he's been on Oprah. And
yeah.
So they're able to take some of the money that they probably got from the church and then move it into other areas to create more income. To where someone like TD Jakes, 100% of his money doesn't come from the church now.
No doubt, but that's fine if you putting them in legal vehicles where the feds can't come do nothing to you. That's all I'm saying. You know, this guy has a wire fraud, he got extortion, and he got lying to the FBI. So you have criminal charges against you, which they don't. You know what I mean? So it could have led from being flamboyant, but it also led from you being an ex-con doing all these things that other people doing. You know, they're going to put you under a microscope. They're going to look at you a little different. And then when you starting to be in the headline news with negative, you know, situations as far as you getting robbed for $1 million worth of jewelry, you insulted everybody with the $1 million worth of jewelry. You know what I mean? You know, if you would have just got robbed for your precious wedding ring that you cherish so much because, you know, the sentimental value, the world would have felt something different. $1 million worth of jewelry, man, then nobody, man, dudes looked at dude like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he was living too flamboyant. It's like back in the day when everybody was hustling in the streets and everyone wanted to just buy the fanciest car, put the most expensive rims on there, get the best sound system. And you were basically telling the police or just everybody that you're getting money illegally because you're 19, 20 years old and you're driving around in like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 vehicles. And we learned our lesson from that back then.
No doubt. And I'm highly guilty of that. You know, no doubt. Highly guilty of that because I never forget, you know what I mean? When I first met my wife, she used to come on her lunch breaks and shit and come to the hood and because she worked in Compton at the time. So she used to come up to my barbershop, Alex, and we'd go to lunch. You know what I mean? So when she come through Compton, you know, at 12 o'clock on her lunch, man, we got, you know, Benzes, lowriders, you know, jet skis, everybody in the city moving on, you know, some big body shit, right? She was like, well, I just want to know that I got to go to work all day. And, you know, I park my Maxima in the driveway at the job. How do y'all get to ride around all day? You know what I mean? I'd never just thought about it like that. We riding around all day, big trucks, big rims, you know what I mean?
Sound blasting
and shit. And so we put ourselves in the sight of the law. Same thing with him. He was no different. He put it, you know, even though we was super young, we wasn't 45, you know. Yeah. we 25, if that, you know. We put our situations where the police can put us under a microscope. And this is what he did, you know, at 45 years old, instead of taking that money, secretly going to sew up some property, buy all the property he can, you know what I mean, and get his millions on the back end. It's all right to look good if you know, if a dude look good, he can damn near put on anything and still look good, you know, that extra flamboyant, he wanted rap status, you know, and, you know, he got it all right.
Yeah, I think he brought too much attention to him. It's just, I could look at dudes like that, and you pretty much called it when on a previous episode we did where you still wasn't feeling him, even though it seemed as if the robbery turned out to be a real robbery.
Right.
But you was like, nah, there's something ain't right with this dude.
Yeah. I wasn't feeling him, man, you know, but at the same time, you know, he got some charges that he got to face. You know, he said he innocent, so I'm going to take that until proven guilty. And that's what it is.
No doubt. He's innocent until proven guilty, like everybody else we talk about. So we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But definitely, I'm not a fan of these fake preachers that just prey on their followers. And I think a lot of their followers got to be a certain level of naiveness and ignorance and just like gullibility that you just, you know, I'm sure he finds these people and brings them in and boom, each person is probably like a dollar sign to him.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. You know?
All right, so we'll follow up on that case and see what happens. Hey, man, Jooba Loc, man, that was my main man from Long Beach, man. I did an interview with Jooba a few years back, man. He was signed to your boy Snoop, and he was doing real well. Then he caught a case out in Nevada, and just, I don't know, man, his life just seems to be spiraling out of control because he was just arrested on this smash and grab robbery that took place at a jewelry store in Tustin, man. Did you see the footage of that?
I didn't see the footage. I heard about it, but you knew the guy personally, huh?
Yeah, I knew Jooba. Okay. I've known Jooba probably 5-6 years when he first started rapping. Yeah. And I tapped in with a lot of those folks over there in the north side of Long Beach. And but shoot, it ain't been working out for him. I don't know what's going on with his career. He had some allegations that he told on a case.
Oh, okay. He's from North Side?
Yeah, he's from the North Side.
Was he from Old Hood? Was he from what hood was he from?
He's from the hood.
On the block?
No, he's from the hood that's out of the Carmelitos.
Okay.
What hood would that be? That would be dang, it's on the tip of my tongue.
What's out of the Carmelitos? Damn. Yeah, but okay, yeah, I got you.
But yeah, he was doing real well a few years back. I mean, and his flow was really nice, and obviously Snoop was feeling him because Snoop co-signed him back in 2017, I believe. But this guy's just his life has just been spiraling out of control. The hood over there is called Brick Boy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Brick Boy Crips.
Yeah.
So that's his hood, Brick Boy. But just recently, he's been implicated in a smash and grab robbery that took place in April. But he gets arrested this month.
Right.
So it took several months for him to get arrested. And I want to talk to you about how you think he got caught. But let me play this short little clip from the local news here in LA.
Okay.
They actually show footage of the whole thing. They got a little clip of them going into the jewelry store.
Accused of taking part in this terrifying smash and grab jewelry heist are now in custody. This robbery, it happened back in April at the Jewelry Exchange in Tustin. The bandits all had guns and they got away with almost $90,000 worth of jewelry. Tustin police arrested the first suspect in July and then worked with the LAPD and Orange County Sheriff's Department to find the remaining 5 men. They're all facing armed robbery and assault charges.
Man, so that was in April. And let me just give a quick little timeline. On July 19th and July 21st, they arrested 2 dudes. They arrested a guy named Nasidi Milton and Messiah Pagoda. That's in July. Then on August 9th, they popped a 3rd dude named Naheem Milton, and he's probably related to the first guy.
Right.
That's August 9th. Then on November 29th, they catch a guy named Cameron Smith. Then on December 1st, they catch a guy... on November 29th, I missed a guy. Trayvonte Washington was arrested August 9th. Naheem Milton is arrested on November 29th. Then Cameron Smith is arrested December 1st. And Jooba is the last of the 6 arrested on December 7th. So at least in this case, we could, I think it's fair to say Jooba didn't tell. He's the last one arrested.
Last one to get arrested, yeah.
So what's your whole take on this? Because also in the video that accompanies that clip, everybody's wearing masks.
Right.
They all go in there with masks. So there's no way to know who these people are.
No doubt. From some reports that I've seen, and the way they worded it, they could have been wording it just to set these people up or make us believe a certain thing. But the way they worded it was, after they caught the first 2 suspects, it was then they were able to identify the rest of the next 4. It leads me to believe the first 2 told, and they told it all. And Once the third guy came in and they told him how much shit they knew about the robbery, he might have started rolling. You know, well, look, man, you the third dude, because when we get to 6, 7, and 8, 4, 5, and 6, it ain't gonna be so sweet. So you better go in now. And he went for it. You know, it's unfortunately, man, that you can have 6 people get away and 6 people get arrested almost a year later, or 6 months later. That disappoints me. You know, and it goes back to what I preach about on FG Unleashed, Alex. You know what I mean? Bro, go get a job or something. Because you see it every day, your homeboy telling on you. It was clear somebody's in it, 6 of them. That's too many. You're going to get on the witness. Somebody's going to get on the witness stand. Somebody's going to take the first deal coming. Somebody's going to tell it all. You know, all these dudes that need to get caught. I don't believe that forensic evidence caught all these dudes. I just really don't. I don't believe that fingerprints, cameras off the freeway, I wouldn't give a damn if it was what they call the retina scan in the sky. I don't believe all 6 of them got caught off evidence that they left at the scene or during this robbery that got them caught. I believe somebody told them exactly, at least a couple of them told exactly what happened.
But there was a report that said that they all jumped over the rear of the structure. There were cars there, and they jumped in the cars and drove off on the freeway. Mm-hmm. So if the police already knew that they jumped into some cars, wouldn't it be possible that they can go back and look at cameras and identify the cars that left from the area where the jewelry store is at? Because everybody on the freeway is being recorded.
No doubt. Truth be told, I believe they could have followed that car damn near all the way home with the technology that they have now. But they can only follow that car. You know what I mean? You couldn't follow 6 people everywhere they went. You know what I mean? So somebody, Alex, if nobody would have said absolutely nothing, I'm almost can bet anything on it that it wouldn't be 6 people in jail right now. That's what I'm saying. I can't go point and say he told, or nothing like that. But I can almost put everything that I've ever loved on it, that if the first 2 dudes would have got caught and said, man, give me my sandwich and my blanket, I don't believe 6 people would be in jail. That's just really what I feel. Even if you did catch the guy with the car or the 2 guys with the cars, how many ever vehicles it was,
They said it was 3.
Okay, that's 3 cars.
3 cars.
So that's 3 baby mamas that, nigga, I ain't going to jail for your motherfucker, because I could hear, they was black, so I could hear a baby mama, I ain't going to jail for your motherfucking ass, you know what I mean? Or a baby mama told. But your baby mama should have knew who all was there anyway. So my whole point is just this. Even if 3 baby mamas told my baby's daddies did it, or told they baby daddy, no, you got to go on, I can't do this one, you got to, and they had to pretty much, it was me or whatever. Not all 6, Alex. Not all 6, man.
Well, the police, they told in a press release that the suspects fled with $87,000 worth of jewelry as they jumped the fence onto the southbound SR 55 freeway, where the 3 getaway vehicles were parked. So if they knew this on that day, they have information about those 3 cars, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I do. But that's 3 cars. That's not 6 cars. It wasn't 6 people. It wasn't 6 people name on those cars. What I'm saying is, if 3 people could have got caught because of the negligence of y'all thought y'all had a perfect plan with the license plates thing, how did the other 3 to get caught? You feel me? Not fingerprints, not they had on mags, I'm just saying it was 6 people. Come on, man. Come on, Alex. You know better, man.
Well, the first 2 that got arrested in July 19th and July 21st, just 2 days apart.
Right.
The first 2 guys get arrested.
Those could have been the people who had the cars.
Yeah, could have been.
Baby mama cars, and those were the people who could have got linked through the cars.
Now, both those 2 guys, one was arrested by sheriffs, and the other one was arrested by Los Angeles and the FBI. Messiah Pagoda was in FBI Los Angeles Sheriff custody. The other guy was in Orange County custody, because this happened in Orange County. So Orange County authorities arrested one. Los Angeles County authorities, along with the FBI, arrested the second one.
Right.
So I guess it's logically thinking it's probably these two guys that ended up telling the rest.
Right, but you see how long after they were arrested that the next guys were arrested.
The third guy gets arrested on August 9th, which is like 2 weeks later.
Okay. And the next guy all the way in November?
November 29th is the
then
fourth.
December.
And then December 1 and December 7.
I'm thinking the last two guys, man, got told on, for sure.
And the last three all get arrested with kind of like within 1 week. November 29th, December 1, December 7th.
Yeah, those November dudes, I think, was got told on. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna point the finger though, because I'm a paperwork guy. But I'm just saying, in my heart, I believe that July and August guys, end up breaking down, told on the November dudes and December dudes. That's what I'm gonna say.
Well, I posted an article on this on my website, streetgangs.com. And what I ended up doing, I spent a little time on this. I looked up every single dude just to see where they were in custody at. So, for example, the first guy arrested, he's still in custody, and he has a $200,000 bail. For whatever reason, they're giving Jooba, the last person arrested, he's got the highest bail, $1.8 million for this.
Right.
But everyone else has $200,000 bails. But the second guy arrested, Messiah Pagoda, was released from custody on July 28th, just 7 days later.
Right. Don't put your hands up like that, man. You know what goes on in this shit. Don't do that.
And it was funny. Somebody left me a comment and said, "Go look at those mugshots. Messiah Pagoda is the only one smiling." and it's true. He's the only one smiling in the mugshots. But hey, I'm gonna let y'all try to figure this out, because I know on social media everyone was trying to figure out how did these 6 guys get arrested. But if you just type in all their names, and they're not all going to pop up in the Los Angeles County arrest.
It's Orange County.
It's Orange County. So 6 of them are in the Orange County database, and 1 of them is in the Los Angeles database. Messiah is the only one that was arrested by Los Angeles. The other 5 were arrested by Orange County. So I don't know what that means, but he's free right now, actually.
Man, he chilling right now, man. While he in jail, he getting ready for his testimony. He gonna get up there and tell it all. It's no other way, unless you really wasn't there and they kind of, come on, bro.
And let me give everybody's age here, just so that you guys could get a sense of this. And for all you youngsters out there, man, this is what's gonna happen when you're 23, 18. Travante's 30. He's the oldest one. Naheem Milton's 19. Cameron Smith's 25, and Jooba's 25. So we got 2 teenagers. 2 dudes in their 20s and 1 guy 30. Right. And this is the way young people are thinking to get a bag is, hey, let's go try to do this.
Not in Orange County. You know what I mean? Y'all went to the wrong spot. And I ain't saying it's the right spot. I'm saying y'all went to the wrong spot. Orange County ain't gonna play with y'all ass down there, man. You know what I mean? You gonna go in there, man, with an all-white jury. Maybe 1 black guy that's a Republican, and they gonna wash y'all ass up down there, man. You know what I mean? You ain't even going to trial. You better take a deal, because it didn't went federal. So you better take a deal, bro.
Yeah, I guess they're all going to take a deal. I'm going to try to see if I could tap in with Jooba Loc, because I did talk to Jooba before when he was in Nevada, and get him on the phone. And I want to make sure he's doing okay. I looked at his mugshot, and the dude looked like he done put on some weight, man. Yeah. This was a small, skinny dude.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he looked chunky.
And now somebody said he looked like Jabba the Hutt now. He went from Jooba Loc to Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's a crazy story, man, with Jooba Loc. And I'm gonna see if I could tap in with him. But let's get on to this Gunna case, because everyone's trying to figure out if Gunna's telling.
Yeah.
And and first of all, he took a deal. He took a deal, and the minimum deal on the RICO case is 5 years. You can get 5, 10, or 20. 20 is the max, 5 is the minimum. He took a 5-year deal, but before we get into it, I want to read a press statement that his attorney, Stephen Sadow, emailed me. And he said, this is a Sergio Kitchens, a.k.a. Gunna, press statement. And it says, when I became affiliated with YSL in 2016, I did not consider it a gang, more like a group of people from Metro Atlanta who had a common interest in artistic aspirations. My focus of YSL was entertainment. rap artists who wrote and performed music that exaggerated and glorified the urban life in the black community. While I have not agreed to always be truthful, I want to make it perfectly clear that I have not made any statements. I have not been interviewed, have not cooperated, have not agreed to testify or be a witness or for or against any party in this case, and have absolutely no intention of being involved in the trial process in any way. I have chosen to end my own RICO case with an Alford plea and end my personal ordeal by publicly acknowledging my association with YSL. An Alford plea in my case is the entry of a guilty plea to the one charge against me, which is in my best interest, while at the same time maintaining my innocence towards the same charge. I love and cherish my association with the YSL music, and I always will. I look at this as an opportunity to give back to my community and educate young men and women that gangs and violence only lead to destruction.
Okay.
What do you think about that statement? This came straight to my email from his attorney.
Oh, wow. That's a great statement. Yeah, great statement. You know what I mean? But I look at it a little different because I've seen other things on that case. So although that was, and it seemed legit for somebody who, like I say, haven't seen other things about the case, you know, or don't know what I know about, being incarcerated under these kind of charges. I've never had a RICO or nothing like that, but at the same time, you know, you just stated that the minimum on a RICO was 5 years.
The Georgia RICO.
The Georgia RICO is 5 years, you know,
and they gave him the minimum, and they suspended the sentence because he took an Alford plea. The Alford plea means you get to go home now. So he still got to do the 5 years, but I guess under home supervision or something.
No, I get you, but that's a great statement. You know, if I didn't know nothing else but to read that statement, I would say, oh, okay. To be honest with you, Alex, if I didn't know, well, I don't know, but if I didn't hear nothing else but that statement, I would say, oh, okay, I get it. Because I do know for sure when you plead guilty, you are admitting to what you did in the furtherance of the crime. You know what I mean? I do know that. Every time somebody plead guilty, you have to say that I committed this crime to plead guilty.
Correct.
So had I didn't, you know, it's just been in the news, so I've been listening to a lot of it. So I don't know what to believe, but had I didn't hear nothing but this, I'd be like, okay, no, I feel that.
All right, well, let's play this little clip of Gunna in court, and we'll get your take on this. It's a short little, it's about a minute clip here.
After each statement, whether or not you agree or acknowledge that statements are true, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I became affiliated with YSL around 2016. Is that true as it pertains to you, Mr. Kitchens?
Yes, ma'am.
YSL is a music label and a gang, and you have personal knowledge that members or associates of YSL have committed crimes in furtherance of the gang.
Yes, ma'am.
You were present when law enforcement officers stopped a vehicle in which you were present along with Jeffrey Williams, wherein hydrocodone, methamphetamines, and a firearm were recovered. These items did not belong to you.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you acknowledge the following statement? I recognize, accept, and deeply regret that my talent and music indirectly furthered YSL the gang to the detriment of my community. YSL as a gang must end. Is that your statement or acknowledgement?
Yes.
Now,
What do you think about that?
that was detrimental to his, that contradicted everything he said in that statement, you know.
How so?
Because he said that he wouldn't cooperate. He wasn't interviewed. He wasn't cooperated, you know, and anything. But at the same time, he gave statements to a prosecutor or whoever that was in that video. He gave him statements.
I kind of feel what you're saying, because in this statement he says, I have not made any statements, have not been interviewed.
He just made a statement.
Yeah, he just...
You know, and the statements he made, and when she said that, he acknowledged that it was a gang. I wasn't even so mad about you acknowledged it was a gang, even though that shouldn't have been, because this is not the you know, the neighborhood 20s. This ain't no gang that's established in America. You know, you could have thought that, you know, this is not a gang thing. You said it was a gang, okay, I bam. But once you said that you had knowledge that YSL had cooperated and had did things in furtherance of the gang, and you have knowledge of that, and you said yes, you lost me right there, bro.
Even though he didn't mention any names.
He didn't have to mention any names. Well, he did mention, she mentioned the names when she said you was in the car with Mr. Williams and y'all found illegal substances and they were not yours. Even though that case could have been, y'all could have already dealt with that case. Bro, you sit here and got on record and start shifting things to Thug.
Well, he said it wasn't his, but he didn't say it belonged to Young Thug.
She said you was in the car with Mr. Williams.
Correct.
That's Jeffrey Williams' Thug.
Correct.
So basically, in that case, you shifted that case to Thugger. You said that everything that was in it wasn't yours. It was only y'all two. Who else is it going to be?
It could belong to a third party.
It was Mr. Williams. You and Mr. Williams in the car.
Yeah.
Alex Alonso in the car. FG, you said it wasn't yours. Shit, that got to mean it's Alex. But you declared they was a gang. You said that you have knowledge that YSL has acted in criminal activity in furtherance of the gang, bro. You said that this is a gang, and I know the criminal shit that they did under YSL, the gang. You lost me right there. You don't get for me. You told, homie. That's what you told. That little piece of evidence right now can be pertinent later on in a trial for anybody else that's on this case. Anybody that comes say that it wasn't a gang, guess what? They got Gunna on record saying no, it was a gang, and they'll play that every time and say, Your Honor, we have a witness that we, confide in. He don't even have to come no more. He done made his statements already. Who said that this was a gang? This was a criminal enterprise. That's what she called it, criminal enterprise. And you said, yeah, bro, that shit gonna hurt somebody else on this case.
Okay, so the main things he said in the statement in court was, one, that it was a gang, it was a criminal group, and it did crime in the furtherance of that group.
And he had knowledge of it,
and he's aware of that.
Right.
Okay. I can see your point on those statements he made in court, but I'm not sure if those statements. I think it's too early to say if those statements will hurt any other defendant, because just because he said it was a gang and acknowledged it as a gang doesn't mean that Young Thug and the other co-defendants can fight the notion that it's a gang. Or they could say this ain't a gang, and you just listening to one guy stating it. We're the other 20 guys that are on this indictment, we're not calling it a gang. So just because he said it's a gang doesn't mean that his word supersedes anything else in their criminal proceedings that are going to come forward.
You're absolutely 100% right, but let me also tell you, now it's something that I'd have to fight against what he said.
Yes, it is an extra fight you got to throw in there. Yeah.
Because the homie said it was, when we could have fought this and kept it as a music group or kept it as whatever, you said it was a gang. You said that the criminal shit that we did was in furtherance of a gang. I would have rather you said it was criminal activity was with the record label. You know what I mean? Because Death Row was a record label. They didn't call it a gang. They called it Death Row Records, and they still said that Death Row Records did criminal shit, but they didn't say it was a gang. You feel what I mean? So if you would have said, yeah, we did, or have YSL, the music label, did criminal activities that you're aware of, and he said, yeah, I mean, shit, you still call it a record label.
Now, did he say in the statement that it was a gang and a music label?
A gang and a music label, both. Well, she said it, and he said he agreed to it.
So at least some of the defendants can say, look, I only mess with the music label side.
Right. You're right.
Yeah, so,
I agree with you.
So that statement does help some of the co-defendants, even though he did say it was a gang. He said it's also a music label. So the other dudes can say, hey, if we're going by Gunna's statement, I'm on this side of YSL, the music part.
Right.
I ain't on the gang side. So let's move on beyond that. And that statement won't hurt some of the co-defendants, is the way I kind of see it.
Okay, but the word you're using is some.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If Streets and Scholars, is going to go on trial or something, and we got, 20 subordinates, up under us, and they fighting the case. If FG say, it's a gang and a music label, you the CEO, Alex. How's you not going to be affected by this? You the leader. So you can't be the leader of just the record label and not the gang when you the leader, period. You feel me? So it might not affect some of them. It's going to affect you, though, bro. It's going to affect Thugger.
But here's what the attorneys for the other co-defendants can say, is that he signed an Alford plea. The only reason any defendant signs an Alford plea is because you want to go home right now. So they could say that Gunna wanted to go home, and everything he said in court was just to appease the judge so he can go home. And what's really bizarre is this judge, Glanville, was just saying last month that Gunna is not fit for bail because he's such a danger to the community because of this text.
No doubt.
But now all of a sudden, he can sign an Alford plea and go home.
No doubt.
And this shows how important bail would have been. If he was out on bail, none of this would be happening right now. They'd just be fighting the case.
They'd be fighting the case.
Yeah, they'd be fighting the case. But this dude Gunna wanted to come home so bad, they didn't give him bail 3 times, so he decided to sign this Alford plea, which says you're guilty, you're kind of guilty, but he still gets to maintain his innocence. Remember we talked about the Alford plea with Miko?
Miko Worldwide.
Same state. Georgia, I guess they really love these Alford pleas. So he could say he's innocent because the Alford plea says you're guilty. We have enough evidence that you're guilty, but because of the interest of justice, we're going to let you sign this deal, sign to a lesser offense, and you get to go home right now.
You said something that I don't know if you realize you said that pertains to Gunna. Gunna is a street dude. You said
I don't know Gunna.
No, I got you.
I don't know Gunna.
Well, look, he's running around with thugs. He's running around the gangsters. He's running around.
I don't even know who his circle is.
But you said in the interest of justice.
Yeah.
No way an outside dude should have nothing with the interest of justice. So if it's in the interest of justice, you know how the justice play. They play hardball. Homie, the only way it's the interest if you made a statement that's gonna help us later. Now, I don't think most people ever, like you said, I think Streets and Scholars, Alex Alonso, because I wasn't even aware, made the most people aware of what an Alford plea is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm going to go on record to say the last dude that we covered with an Alford plea when something happened to him, what happened? What did he do? He ran to the police and you know what I mean? And
on a separate case.
He still ran to him, man. So these dudes that's taking these Alford pleas, Alex, I'm not just buying that I believe it's going to hurt somebody. I'm going to put Gunna in since you said that the music label was a gang and you had knowledge of criminal activity that they did. I'm going to put you in the bro you told. I'm going to put you in that category. Did you get on the stand and point somebody out? You don't have to always do that. I believe you gave the Justice Department enough, the GBI, enough something from you to when they go fight what they really want, you know what I mean? What they really looking for, that statement is going to come back because I really think they're trying to make sure they establish this as a gang. 17 people, more people can get cut loose. The 3 people that they want, that statement is going to hurt.
Well, if he made a statement that's going to hurt whoever goes on trial, that will come up in trial. There's no, it's going to come up.
It's going to come up in trial.
Yeah, it's going to come up. So we'll find out if anything that Gunna said will come up in any of their dudes' trials. But you don't have to take a deal. I mean, you don't have to cooperate to get an Alford plea, by the way.
No, you don't. I didn't say you did.
Yeah, I just want people to know that.
And I'm not saying he cooperated further. I'm not saying he did something backroom that we don't know about. I'm saying from the statements that I heard him respond to, just what you played. You know what I mean? To me, I mean, I'm not cool with that. That's not cool at all. Gunna was one of the top dudes on this case, or they wouldn't have been calling him all this malicious stuff in order not to give him a bail. You know what I mean? And like you say, they call him all these, if he get out or, things can go bad and, witnesses can get, but you let him right out as soon as he signed his plea.
Well, hopefully I can get his attorney, Steven Sadow, on Streets and Scholars over the phone next week from Georgia. And maybe he can clarify some of what's going on. Because if what you're saying is true, the actual official press statement by Gunna might be a little misleading. Yeah, because
by you saying that you didn't, like you basically saying you didn't give him nothing. You did give him something, and we heard it. So this stuff is all over social media. You got fights that's going on. Not fights, but you got, social media fights that's going on about if he snitched and if he didn't. I could see where I'm just taking notes on who on what side of the fence. Like I said, he didn't specifically give up a certain crimes. He didn't seem to give up certain names. He didn't seem to, like I say, point anybody out. But I do believe that the statements he made is going to hurt somebody in the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite possible. I'm gonna wait and see how some of the other co-defendants' cases go. But I do think one way it could hurt some of the others is that some of the other defendants are sitting there in jail saying, damn, Gunna made a statement in court saying that it is a gang, and it might influence the way they take deals. Right. And it might influence how much time they get on their deals because maybe they were banking on that, it ain't a gang. I can fight this. But Gunna said that now I got to re-strategize my defense, and maybe now I got to cop to a deal that more years than what I was going to take in the first place.
Right, but like I say, GBI ain't no different from nobody else. They don't want to spend $500,000 to take each one of these dudes to trial. They're going to come with some deals. It's just depending on, who can leave their baby mama out on the street the longest. That's what's going to happen with a lot of these dudes. Sometimes, Alex, you'll be surprised that that's what it boils down to, on how much time they're willing to take. And I believe Gunner is just the first of somebody. I believe somebody else is gonna come along, spew out a little bit more. Next dude gonna take an Alford plea. He gonna take a little bit. He gonna say a little bit more. And at the end of the day, man, they gonna have who they want.
Man, that just shows you how important it is. This whole idea of bail and them denying him bail. The court denying him bail 3 times led to this.
No doubt, man. But I just believe that, for the charges that they have, because Gunner wasn't charged with a murder. Gunner had a lot lesser charges than some of the other guys on there. I don't know why they just didn't give him bail a long time ago. And I'm wondering if they played their cards right, saw he was kind of one of the weakest links. I'm not saying he was. I'm just saying if they saw something in him to say, no, we hold this dude long enough, we can get something out of him. I don't know. But, he was the first one to, speak and get up out of there.
All right, well, let's go to our last topic, man, and it is this Tory Lanez trial, Megan Thee Stallion. And, man, the trial's going to wrap up this week, and we're getting close to Christmas. Christmas is this weekend, and they're going to celebrate. The court's going to recognize Christmas on that Monday, so there won't be any court on Monday. But it looks like that this case will go to a jury maybe by the end of this week. It's hard to say. It's hard to say because we don't know if we got some more witnesses coming. But, man, this is a roller coaster trial, man. Sometimes you think that the prosecution, they got all this evidence, and then you think, oh, no, there's no way that he did it. And then you hear another witness, oh, what? Maybe he did do it. So it's just kind of like going back and forth. It's like watching a football game where everyone's scoring a touchdown and nobody's winning yet.
Let me ask you this: are you back in court soon?
Yeah, I'm back. I haven't missed not one single day.
Is it true that Tory Lanez is in custody at this moment from the situation that he had with the females in the bathroom?
When was that?
I've seen today. See if you could pull it up.
I'm completely unaware of it.
Yeah, I heard he was back. He was in custody. He turned himself in either this morning or couldn't have been yesterday because you was there.
No, he was in court today. He was dressed in a nice suit. So
yeah, I believe I've just heard this today that he was in custody.
Okay.
Unless it was something old and I ran across, but I did hear that today, honestly.
Okay, I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, I could be wrong. Like I said, it could have been something old, but I heard that he turned himself in, and from a situation he had with a few ladies, a fight or something he had with a few ladies. Not this case, a completely another one.
Nah, I don't
You don't see anything?
No, I don't see anything.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
Nah, that would have I think I would have heard about that.
Yeah.
But nah, he's coming into court every day. He's always on time, always dressed sharp. And I don't see anything about that.
Yeah, no, that's cool if it wasn't.
But yeah, this they're basically trying to figure out who shot Megan. If it was Kelsey, a lot of people are leaning towards Kelsey, the best friend, the former best friend of Megan, and some people are thinking Tory actually did it. So that's really what the jury's trying to figure out: who shot Megan, and really who had opportunity, who had motive. And man, it's a difficult case to figure out. The other day I was thinking, oh, there's no way they're going to convict Tory Lanez on this. But then when the neighbor testified, and he kind of put the gun in Tory's hand, I was like, oh man, it didn't look good for Tory with that witness.
What's your take on it as far as what you seeing? I know you're saying it's a roller coaster, but you sitting right there, you getting full view of everybody's testimony. You seeing who calm, you seeing the looks on people's faces, you seeing who nervous, who not. In your expert opinion, man, who seemed nervous?
Well, Well, most of the witnesses are a little nervous when they get on the stand. Even there was a couple cops that testified. One of the cops seemed a little nervous, but I'm listening to a lot of the lies that are being told on the stand. You know, Megan's something else, man. She's up there just lying about a whole lot of things.
Man, look, I keep seeing people like tweeting and comments and saying she's lying. Is she really up there just lying though? In your aspect,
Absolutely. She denied that there was ever a fight between her and Kelsey.
right?
It's clearly there was a fight. She denied that she even walked to the back of the car where Kelsey was at to have a fight. She actually says, "Oh no, I just walked forward." She denied that she even got out of the car. There was a first incident where she got out the car and then got back in, and then they drove. And in that incident, Tory Lanez gets out the car and convinces her to come back in. She's sitting on a bus stop on Sunset Boulevard. I guess she's mad. And Tory Lanez gets out the car. That's what all the other witnesses say. And she gets back in. She denied that ever even happened.
Damn.
And I'm not sure if it's lying because, again, we got to realize she was very intoxicated.
Right.
So she might not remember a lot of these things.
So ain't no kind of like perjury could be done just based on you could not remember really what happened.
Well, the thing was, it's not just the lies. There's a few lies that she probably said on the stand, but it's the lies that she said prior. It's the lies on Gayle King.
Yeah, no doubt.
She told Gayle King a few lies.
No doubt. No, for sure.
She lied in her previous statements to the police. She lied in the hospital. She told everyone she stepped on glass. She lied to the doctor. She lied in the ambulance.
Right.
So there's a whole a series of lies that went on. And then we find out, remember I said something about threesomes will get you in trouble, and I thought this was a threesome thing. Well, it turned out it wasn't a threesome thing. He was having sex with both of them where Kelsey Harris was unaware.
She didn't know. Yeah,
she didn't know. Of course, Megan knew.
Right.
Because Megan actually hooked them up.
Right.
But then after a couple of months, she and Tory hook up.
Yeah.
So she the type of girl that will go behind your back, take your dude, and then Kelsey Harris testified that this wasn't the first time Megan did this to her.
Right.
So this is also not only a liar, but a disloyal friend that will have sex with 3 of the dudes that you were with first. So.
Well, I mean, you can call it disloyal, but at the same time, man, some of these women out there just hot though, bro. You know what I mean? You've been around long enough to know that some of this shit, you know. Some of them, you come on, Alex.
There's enough men for Megan to pick from.
Man, you right.
She picking the dudes that her best friend is bashing.
Well, look, take the money out of it. Take I'm a rich bitch off of it. Take I'm on all the videos out of it. Go back to the hood. How many homegirls you know, homie, that done slept with numerous amount of homies or homegirls after the homie didn't mess with them. You know what I mean? All you doing is add money. We've been seeing this shit since we was little.
Yeah,
bro.
that's true.
You know what I mean? You probably wasn't fornicating around in the hood like I was, but trust me. You know what I mean? This shit this was a daily activity in the turf.
But
right?
to have one person, we've all seen this happen with one friend, maybe did it once, another guy did it once, but have you ever had one person do this to you multiple times though? That's the difference here. She counted 3 times that the word she used was backdoored. Megan Thee Stallion backdoored me 3 times already. Now that's a little different. Yeah, I might be able to point to this guy did it to me once. That guy did it to me once, but I can't say that one person did this to me multiple times.
You got a point there, but at the same time, you know, self-esteem is a motherfucker, and maybe that Kelsey is the one who brings in the dudes that Megan likes. You know, maybe at the time, or maybe Megan hooked him up. You know what I mean? So she should have just went after the dude, or maybe she didn't know she liked him, or maybe she heard he was great in bed and said, hold on, let me go get some of that too. I mean, it's a lot of factors in that. You know what I mean? But Kelsey, if you knew once or you knew twice, you know, and you still fucking with her, then come on now, it's you know this what she do.
That came up in court too.
Oh, somebody said that?
Well, one of the attorneys asked her, like, you were still friends with her after she did this the first time, right? She was like, yeah, but this was the time that you decided that you weren't friends with her anymore. This was the last time, but I didn't really understand why he was asking the question, because really at the end, Megan cut her off. She didn't cut Megan off. She was still going to be friends with Megan even after this third time.
Yeah, but you know, I blame Tory, you know, for running your mouth like a little hoe, even telling. Because hold on, you part of this conspiracy too. You didn't go mess with her and then go tell Kelsey in the back room, look, man, I messed with your homegirl, blah, blah, blah. She was on me. I was drunk. I blame them. You didn't go do that. Homie, you waited till y'all in the heated battle in this situation and then gonna tell them, dude, you added all the fuel to the fire in this situation. dude, you the gas in this situation.
Yeah,
you the gas and the lighter, bro. You know what I mean? This wasn't the time to say that, but at the same time, I did hear he say he was super drunk. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, man, it's just not no way that I'm gonna have 2 females in the car unless, I mean, I just can't see it going down like that, man. You know, me telling one girl, well, you know she been backdooring you all this time. Dude, come on, man.
I guess he was so mad at Megan in that argument that was the only thing he can come back with to really, you know, to balance what she was saying. She was dissing him about you ain't really no artist.
Now that could trigger. Don't get me wrong. That definitely could trigger. And it seemed like Megan was the aggressor as far as, you know, like she said she wanted to go back and get her little glass slipper. Come on, man, you can buy that shit over and over and over. You know what I mean? But you really wanted to go back and get him away from whatever he was doing.
She was cock blocking.
You know, no doubt, homie. You was so into this dude. Like I say, man, he must have been like putting that thing down. And at that age, man, you know, she don't know how to handle her emotions, but because it seemed like Megan was the one who couldn't keep her emotions in check.
That's another lie she said on the stand. She said that she didn't want to leave. She wanted to leave with Tory because her driver had already left. It turns out her driver was there the whole time, so that's another lie. She said this on the stand.
I didn't even know that, but
yeah.
I knew they had left and then came back. So you was already could have went and got dropped off.
Yeah, and then her excuse to come back was she claimed to have left the slipper. That ain't never happened. That was just her way to tell Tory's driver. Yeah. Tory's driver was going to take her home. Mm-hmm. So she's thinking to herself, how could this guy's going to take me home. I don't want to go home.
Right.
I forgot something, driver.
Yeah.
What'd you forget? A slipper. I need it. It's a Louis Vuitton slipper.
I forgot Tory, basically.
Yeah. And then when she goes in there, and we got testimony that as soon as she goes in there, big old argument in front of Kylie.
Damn.
And Kylie kicks everybody out.
Right.
Kylie said, all y'all got to go.
Right.
So she lied about that too. She said, and then she said, oh no, I had no problem with Kylie, but it's clear. We heard from Kelsey, we heard from EJ that she did not want to leave
no doubt
Tory behind.
No, she was the problem. She was the problem, the emotional wreck. She was the problem, couldn't keep her feelings in check. You know, at the end of the day, Tory fueled the fire. Now you got this big ass situation. I don't know how old Tory is, you know, but at the same time, man, you know, he didn't really handle the situation as he should have. You know, I believe this could have been handled, you know, a better way. You know, but that's how it escalated. Now look at a situation you in. You talk about a gun. You talk about a victim. You talk about somebody being shot. You talk about multiple witnesses. You know, what I want, not just the Streets and Scholars listeners to understand is, you know, from the smash and grab to the Megan story to all these, it's so much technology and witnesses and phone records and shit that they pull up on you, Alex, that, you know, it's inevitable that, you know, certain shit you gonna get caught. You went on Gayle King, you lied. You lied multiple times to the authorities. You know, you lied initially to the police. I don't know how this case gonna go.
And you know, maybe Tory did do this, but if he's found not guilty, it's because there's so many lies that Megan has said. The jury could actually just say, you know what, I don't believe anything this woman says, and we're just gonna find him not guilty off of the lies that she's already told. If she would have been honest from the beginning, she would have a stronger case against Tory.
True. Let me ask you this: what the jury pool look like?
It's mostly women.
Mostly women.
Right now, it's 7 women, 5 men. It's a racially diverse. There's 2 black jurors, an older black gentleman about 60, and an older and a younger brother probably in his late 20s, early 30s.
But mostly women.
Mostly women.
Yeah. Did it seem like the defense would have tried to fight for more men?
I was surprised, and even the original juror, they picked 16 jurors, 4 jurors for the trial. 12 jurors for the trial, 4 alternates. Of those 16, 11 were women.
Yeah.
You know.
See the thing about it, man. You wanted men on this jury. You know, you wanted men to, you know, just to be honest, to come be men. You know what I mean? And the first thing they was gonna be like, damn, you fucking both of them? Shit, yeah. All right, youngster. But at the end of the day, you know, most men probably done been in some situation where they can relate. You know, and men gonna stop thinking about the shooting part and start thinking about the headache or the problem that they had with, you know, and know how fast it can escalate. You know, I'm not trying to say this to be funny, and I'm not trying to say this to deceive the judicial process. I'm saying, you know, in reality for, you know, Tory on his side and the defense to, help win this argument, because at this point, Alex, I don't know what happened. I can't even say, I'm gonna be honest with you, I can't even say no more. Now, let me ask you this. Have Megan specifically said in court, Tory shot me?
She says that she was walking away. She heard gunshots. She turned around and Tory is leaning over the car, the doors open, and he's leaning over the car with the gun in his hand.
Okay.
The attorney actually asked, well, did you actually see him firing? And she says, I turned around and I see him standing there with a gun. So kind of.
Right.
She doesn't technically say he's firing at me.
Right.
But she turns around, he's got a gun, and she puts him in the front. She puts him on the passenger side, kind of with the door open, and he's standing on like the running board of an SUV where you're not on the ground and you're kind of still elevated, and the door's open, and he's probably according to her, he's between the crack of the door being open and the body of the car, pointing a gun at her.
Wow. What are the charges that he's facing?
Assault with a deadly weapon, negligent discharging of a firearm, and illegal possession of a gun.
Okay.
And that they one of the charges, the negligent firing of a gun, that was just added. And during the trial, they wanted to add perjury, a new perjury charge, but the judge didn't allow it because there's some evidence that Tory offered $1 million to both Kelsey and Megan to not say anything when they were in the car getting pulled over by the police. But they didn't add that charge. But I want to also just mention briefly before we wrap up this episode, the DNA evidence and the gunshot residue evidence. Gunshot residue is on Tory's hand, but it's also on Kelsey's hand, not on the driver. So somehow you got to explain, how does gunshot residue get on Kelsey's hand? Now, if she's really, really close to Tory, like within like a foot, it's possible that GSR can get on her. But she testified that she didn't even see the shooting.
Right.
And then there's also DNA. There's 4 DNAs on that gun.
Damn.
But none of those DNAs are, one DNA belongs to an unknown man. The other 3 DNAs, they can't say it's Tory's, but they can't exclude him. So it benefits him. They cannot say. But what's really interesting is that if you just fired a gun multiple times and the police pull you over within 5 minutes, you would expect some DNA to be on that gun.
You're right.
Unless they did a wipe down on the gun.
Real quick.
But if they wipe down the gun, how does 4 other people's DNA show up on the gun?
No doubt.
So it's really confusing. It's really confusing. I don't know what to think right now. Who knows? I mean, it's an interesting case. It's entertaining. It's got all kind of ups and downs. But I think it's slightly to the defense.
Are any of those cases deportable current? Well, I'm sure assault with a deadly
all of them.
All of them are.
He's got to be found guilty, though.
Right.
If he's not found guilty, he won't be deported. And this is the type of case that he's either guilty of all 3 of them, or he's not guilty of any of them. There won't be a mix.
Right.
Because possession of the gun.
Yeah.
Well, you got to prove that that's his gun, and there's 3 other people in the truck.
Right.
Then assault with the gun, and then negligent discharging the gun. It's basically the same thing.
Same shit. Yeah.
So either you're guilty of both of them or not guilty of them. So it's either gonna be a sweep for not guilty, or you're guilty on every. Actually, they can find him guilty of the 2 gun charges, and no, you got to. Yeah, he would be guilty of all of them. I don't see a split verdict here. You're either guilty of all of them or not guilty of all of them. And we'll find out hopefully in the next few days, and on next week's episode of Streets and Scholars, we'll be able to give you an update on that. I'll be in the court. I should be there during the verdicts. Any last words, FG, before we wrap this up?
Nah, man, you're going to need popcorn and shit for this one. Tomorrow or something, whatever, you go back. But, man, I appreciate you keeping us updated on this. You got to stay in touch with Streets and Scholars, man. And Alex going to make sure and Street TV. He's going to make sure that he have every detail of this case for y'all. And
anything new on FG Unleashed?
No, FG Unleashed, man, it's chilling, man. I was happy today, early up until 5 o'clock, Alex. And man, I got a letter in the mail, bro. And I looked at the letter and I'm looking at it and shit. And I'm like, who was this for? But it had my name on it. You know, and I opened the letter. Well, I seen the name on the thing, man. It was the AARP. I'm like, who the hell they writing for? You know?
You mad that you're getting that type of mail now?
Man, they like, man, you finna be 50, man. I'm like, hold on, I was just 17. This shit, man.
Hey, is AARP known worldwide? Because there might be some listeners that don't even know what the heck AARP is.
It could be. It's not, but it's when you get old, bro. They benefits program.
I think
for
the
elders.
RP stands for retired people.
Yeah.
What's the AA? I forget the AA. But yeah, basically old folks.
Old
folks
man.
stuff.
Yeah, so I was happy until then. I guess I'm getting a little older, bro. I got to accept it.
Hey man, I'm in this trial with all these media people and everybody in there half my age, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they're all in there like 20-something years old doing their thing. And it's crazy. This is the most social media trial I've ever seen, because the majority of the people that are covering this trial are Instagrammers and YouTubers.
No doubt, man. They getting out tweeting and stuff, Alex.
And tweeters, yeah.
You got to get out and at halftime or something and tweet the shit out, man. And, you know, because I'm starting to see, I need to see Alex on some of this shit, you know, instantly. You know what I mean?
Hey, man, I can't keep up with these youngsters.
Yeah, I know, man. They moving fast, man.
They run out the courtroom and go to the bathroom and they start tweeting. And I'm just putting the stuff in my bag by that time.
Right.
But yeah, it's an interesting trial, and we'll be back at you next week, man. Tap in with FG on his Instagram, FGeneral1, and go run up the numbers on his YouTube channel, FG Unleashed. Tap in with me at Street TV, and I'm Alex Alonso 101 on all social media platforms. And thanks for tapping in on another fire episode of Streets and Scholars.